Hey everyone, welcome back to Matrix Protocol. And I wanted to... Oh, there he is. Wonderful. To try a fun composition just based on, like, a theme or group. Behold! The Asgardians of the galaxy together again. So, I started thinking about, like, okay, what if you could come up with a composition based on a certain group, right? So I thought, like, last night I tried a Avengers comp, though it was actually with Bucky instead of Hawkeye. It didn't go well. As you can probably guess, it was 3 tanks and 3 DPS. Didn't go well at all. So I was thinking, okay, well, what's an actual, like, decent possible comp you could make work here? And I was like, well, what about the Guardians of the Galaxy? Now, I had to kind of stretch this a bit, because the entire Guardians group is not actually here. Like, in the game. Like, Drax isn't in the game. And neither is Gamora. However, you could say that technically Thor was a Guardian of the Galaxy at one point. And I guess Adam Warlock at the end of the third movie kind of became a member of the Guardians, I think. Sort of. Maybe. Possibly. If based on the end credit scene of that movie, I guess you could say he ends up joining them. So I'm kind of stretching this a bit. But, yeah. I'm just going to say that based on who was with the Guardians at some point or another in the MCU, this is the Guardians or Asgardians of the Galaxy, as Thor put it, and then gave the Asgardians of the Galaxy comp that you can run in Battle Matrix. Let's see whether or not it's any decent or viable. Now, in case you're wondering, apart from me spending a couple, rather, I think it was actually 15 currency just to put this comp together because it doesn't give you in the initial selection here. As you can probably guess, this is probably not going to go well, but then again, what we're also doing is I'm trying to also utilize the interest method. So I started experimenting with that, where basically the idea here is that you don't spend anything for like the first like 5 or 6 rounds or so. And it's okay to go on a losing streak because you're building even more currency, and then you can eventually build into your team and have it hopefully get stronger. Now, is this the best or most viable composition? Probably not. But it's a themed composition, and I like themed compositions. I think it's a fun idea. I think the idea of running a comp, which, you know, this isn't necessarily a bad comp. 2 tanks, 3 healers, and Star-Lord. I think this can work out. We just, of course, have to get some good, decent upgrades and modules. I just keep calling them upgrades because that's what they are. I know they're called modules. I just call them upgrades. So I've already grabbed one, which was the beacon upgrade for Rocket. As far as the other upgrades, I like the other upgrade for Rocket. Mantis's Flourish upgrade is pretty nice. Both of the upgrades for Thor and Groot can be pretty good. I'm conflicted about the upgrades for Adam Warlock because the thing is, the way Adam utilizes ult can be frustrating. Because sometimes he'll use it when I need him to, and sometimes he just will not cast it. Like, he will just stand there with his ult and just not cast it. It becomes kind of frustrating. But when you think about it, this is actually a pretty heavy res comp, right? I mean, you've got Warlock, Mantis, Star-Lord, and Rocket. I probably also ran into some other pretty tough comps here, I'm guessing, but that's fine. That's okay. Again, it's okay because look at the amount of money we're making. You have 74, we're getting maximum of 5 interest. Because we're on a losing streak, we're gaining a bit more. So this is fine. This is fine. I actually played a couple games last night where I didn't spend anything until we got to the next practice protocol. And it actually ended up working out well, because then you can just grab a bunch of upgrades really quick. But yeah, I was thinking about other composition videos I could run here, and this one came to mind because I thought it possibly could be a decent viable comp. We'll see whether or not that ends up being the case. But, like, I'm probably not going to do my Avengers video just because of how bad it was. Like, I ran it once, I'm like, okay, I tried this out, it didn't work out, we're probably not going to do this ever again. Alright, so we are at 100. And now the streak doesn't matter anymore. So, I think this is now where we start to go ahead and start grabbing some stuff.
We're ready to go to battle.
All units regenerating.
You got them all!
Alright, so now we'll get Rocket's other upgrade, which does make him a pretty decent healer. Like, this really elevates his... Also, look at the beacons and the armor packs just getting tossed out. Probably not the best positioning for this group. And just like that, we are at 20 of 40. I'm going to go ahead and bring these guys in, partly because what I want is for them to get the, I always forget what it's called, the big healing ability that Adam does right from the beginning. That's usually why I'd like to have them bunched up, whether it be with Adam or whether it be with Jeff, just so they can be able to benefit from that healing ability he does.
Air functions.
Hey, Teeny! Enjoy the amplifier! All right!
Here we go. This is now where our comp starts to come alive.
I am Asgard's might!
Of course. Yes, of course, of course. Of course. Look, I like quoting those movies and those lines, especially from Thor in those movies. I just love the way Hemsworth uses his Thor voice. You know what's the other fun thing about
Looks like we're ready to go to
not doing anything or spending anything in the first like 5 or 6 rounds is that it gives you an opportunity to just like pick your roster and then be like, alright, I'm gonna go grab a drink or something.
Air functions.
You know, I gotta pay attention to Star-Lord and see, does he ever use his E in this mode?
Again!
Because at times it feels like he never does.
ready to put on a show.
I am Asgard's might!
Your powers are mine!
There we go.
Rise, my friends!
Rise, my friends! Uh-oh. Star-Lord, you're all by yourself!
Second chance is over.
There we go. No, he died again. Mantis, look out!
I am Asgard's might! We are Groot!
Alright, he got me that time. You guys love those memes where you see the line from Drax, "Mantis, look out!" I love looking up meme videos about this game. Some of them can just be so funny. Like, how many have you seen about Stark with the smirk on his face? He's like, "Jarvis, clip it." There's a ton of meme videos about this game, and they are all so funny. But yeah, when am I going to get Drax and Gamora in this game so we can have the full Guardians of the Galaxy in this roster?
Looks like we're ready to go to battle.
By the way, I should mention something, speaking of which, of possible future characters. Uh-oh.
Tremble before Bast!
Oh, he already has the Bost avatar upgrade. But, speaking of possible future characters, I noticed they have moved where Blade is in this game. So Blade used to be in the Central Park map in that prison in Dracula's castle. Now he's in Wakanda, recovering in a bed. Which I thought was interesting that they did that as a means to show progression in the story, but also to tease him getting added to the game later. Because you know Blade is going to get added to this game. You know he's coming. I'd be shocked if they were not going to announce that Blade is one of the upcoming new characters, like in the next season or something. Could you imagine if we also get the Ally Rebirth module with this setup here? This ultimate, like, res setup here?
Looks like we're ready to go to battle.
All targets impacted.
Hey, Dee! Enjoy the
I am
amplifier!
ready to put on a show. Friends, get out!
Of course, Star-Lord gets eaten. Well, they're ulting. Oh my gosh, they did the thing.
Rise, my friends!
Rise, my friends! But it's not gonna matter. But they did the thing. They did the thing where Jeff spits them out just as Scarlet Witch is ulting. Oh my gosh, they did the thing. What, have they never seen that clip? Where Jeff swallows the entire team, Wanda ults, and then he spits them out right into Wanda's ult. I can't be one of the only people who has actually seen that clip.
You got them all.
Alright. I'm conflicted about Star-Lord's upgrades, honestly. You know what, let's go ahead and grab both of Warlock's upgrades for his ult. Just to see whether or not that can actually be a difference maker. That it's supposed to make them invincible a couple of seconds longer, and they do 80% more damage when they get rezzed. So far, this is not going well for the Asgardians of the galaxy. It's kind of reflective of how it went with my Avengers comp. Maybe I'll grab Thor and Groot's upgrades next. If we make it that far. This is the unfortunate thing if you start to get on a losing streak. You start to run out of health and you start going, I may not make it that long. If things start turning around here, we may not end up making it that long. To see all the other upgrades and see the possible potential of this composition. Because I'd like for them to get to the later rounds and see how viable this could actually be. But that may not happen.
All targets infected.
Hey, Teeny! Enjoy the amplifier! All right!
Disappear! Friends, gather around! We are undefeatable!
Supernova!
Yeah, not going well. Not going well. There we go. Alright, 41 to 40. Hopefully getting this jump is going to help us out. I'm going to try Star-Lord in a different type of comp, but just like to see, like, I don't think I've actually tried to see how strong his upgrade where his ult fires 3 targets simultaneously to see how strong that actually could be.
All units regenerating. Tremble before blast!
Hey, T.
I am Asgard's might!
Gather around!
Rise, my friends!
Rise, my friends!
Second chance is over.
I
Teeny!
am Asgard's
Enjoy the
might!
amplifier!
Enjoy the amplifier.
You got them all!
There we go. Hold off. As I have pointed out in the previous videos, I've gotten to really low health. I'll never forget trying that six healer comp, getting down to just 2 health, and then we just went on a roll and ended up winning the game. So even if you have low health, it doesn't matter. It's just a matter of when you can be able to get your comp actually going. And of course, just having things play out in your favor. Because of course, it does still come down to RPG as well.
Healing allied combatants.
Hey, Teeny! Enjoy the amplifier!
I am
Ready
Asgard's
to
might!
put on a show!
Thor's by himself.
Friends, gather around!
That time Jeff ate Wanda. And now they all just wait. And then Jeff's gonna eat them again. Because he has the thing where he doesn't consume energy when he ults. This is hilarious.
Armed and dangerous!
Enjoy the amplifier!
Again!
Rise, my friends!
Again!
Friends, gather around!
I guess we tied? Alright, I'm gonna hold off. I don't want to risk that thing where, like, a legendary module shows up and then I can't afford it. It's like, it's alright. We have a practice protocol after this, and we can get a couple more upgrades. And then hopefully that's going to make our build come alive a little bit stronger. The question is, whose do we grab? Do we grab Groot's for the walls? Do we grab Thor's to make his to make him stronger? Do we grab Star-Lord?
Okay. Looks like we're ready to go to battle.
Damage delivered.
Alright, his Black Panther is down.
Hey, team! Enjoy the amplifier!
I am Asgard's might!
Rise, my friends! This is
Friends,
real
gather around!
firepower!
We are Groot!
Second chance is over.
There we go. I don't recall, like, Star-Lord uses his shift in this mode, clearly, but I gotta pay attention to see, is he even using his E? Because there's an upgrade for his E, but I hardly ever see him use it. Or maybe he is, I'm just not even noticing it. Alright, hold on. Never mind. They finished right as I clicked that. There we go. So we're getting a decent amount of these upgrades, which should help. I wonder if there's a video where people break down why you should position your characters in certain positions on this map or not. I haven't seen one. I've only seen ones talking about like which characters you should use in which compositions, not necessarily where you put them on the map.
Okay. Looks like we're ready to go to battle.
Damage delivered. We are Groot!
Rise, my friends! Amplify it!
You got them all!
Second chance is over.
I actually really like that upgrade for Mantis. Man, you know, some people just have better luck at actually getting their, like, epic modules than others. Like, this guy already has 60 of 40. He's already got 2 of these, which I don't have. I went up against somebody who had 6. He had 3 here and 3 here. And I was just like, I can't beat that. Like, I made it to the top 2, but once I realized it was just him and me, I quickly realized, like, look, man, I can't beat you, okay? In fact, we're about to face that guy right now.
Okay. Looks like we're
Pretty sure he's gonna win this. He's on an 8-game winning streak. It's no shock as to why,
A successful strike!
considering what he has.
All units regenerated!
I am ready to
Hey,
grab
team!
show!
Enjoy the amplifier! Rise, my friends!
We are Groot! Asgard's might!
Hey! Second chance is over.
Just back to back to back ults from Scarlet Witch. Just like, what do you do against that? She just immediately just, pure chaos, pure chaos, pure chaos. Like, what are you supposed to do against that? Oh, well, I finally got one myself. That's nice. So at least now we finally have one of those. Increases their damage and healing output by 1% per second. I do like the idea that, like, every second the match goes on, that they are just putting out more damage and more healing.
Looks like we're ready to go to battle.
I also want to try a Fantastic Four lineup.
I am Asgard's might!
Enjoy the amplifier!
Disappear! We are undefeatable!
Poor Star-Lord just all by himself there. Oh, and then they get tossed into the fire. That's great.
Again!
Friends, gather around!
I am
18.
Asgard's
You see what I mean?
might!
Warlock had his ult, but he didn't cast it.
We are undefeatable!
I am Asgard's might!
Thor!
Born again!
But of course, born again!
Supernova!
Yeah, I think we're about to get knocked out here, folks. This may be the end of the Asgardians of the galaxy. But yeah, I was entertaining the idea of a Fantastic Four lineup. The question is, who would I get as my other tank and other healer? Because both Reed and Johnny would take up the 2 DPS slots. But then who would we get as our other tank and other healer that fits that theme of the Fantastic Four? And I'm going to have to look at the roster and figure out who I would actually think would fit in there with the Fantastic Four. Keep in mind, I'm not too crazy about that lineup anyway because of how Ben has a tendency to just run into corners with his charge, even when nobody's there. Like, the fight will be taking place over here, and he's charging over here for some reason. So I'm facing somebody's Phantom. It's actually a little sad if a Phantom knocks you out.
Damage delivered! I am Asgard's might!
18! Enjoy the amplifier!
Here we go. We survived one more round. I'd like to get to the practice protocol so we can get our last 2 upgrades, but we are down to one health left. So it looks like somebody got knocked out. The guy whose Phantom I just beat, he's out of play now, so... So I have to beat whoever I'm facing next, otherwise I am out. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's, Okay, so it's the person with 8 health. Alright. Of course. Of course. Alright. I forget what this person's comp is. This is probably the one that did the infinite Scarlet... Yeah, this is the one with Scarlet Witch and Bucky, where they can just ult and keep on ulting and not use their energy. Yeah, great.
All targets infest!
Armed!
Same with the Jeff.
Disappear! Friends, gather around!
Jeff swallowed them again, still has his ult, So does Invisible Woman, so does Scarlet Witch. Like, they can just keep on ulting over and over.
I am Asgard's might! We are
Born again!
I am Asgard's
Second chance is
might!
over. Enjoy the amplifier! Armed and dangerous! Again!
I am ready to put on a
Again! Again!
Well, it was a valiant run for the Asgardians of the Galaxy. Sadly, I couldn't make it to the last practice protocol to get the other 2 upgrades, but I don't know. I feel like if our luck went a little bit better in terms of getting our legendary modules, we could have done better, because we didn't even get the one that gives us rebirth. If we did that with this comp, considering how many reses this comp has, I think it could have gone farther. But it is what it is. I'll take a look at the roster and see what I can do in terms of a Fantastic Four, but I have a feeling it may not be that great. It's probably a bad idea for a comp. So anyways, I will see you guys next time.